Welcome to Book Nook, the coziest place for book lovers to chat about the stories that shape us. I'm Marie.
And I'm Barbara, and each episode we dive into the books we love, the ones that challenge us, and everything in between. Ready to talk books? It's time to turn the page. Welcome to Book Nook. I'm with my special guest today. You're watching on YouTube with my dog, Flo. She's the cutest dog on earth. Hi, Mary.
Hey, Barbara. It's so
How
cool
are
that
you?
we have a third co-host.
Yeah, she loves books too. I know. I'm sure of it. So, how have you been?
I'm good. So I'm back in Montreal where we have a lot of rain today, or like in general. I'm just waiting for spring and summer to come.
But it's the thing in Canada. Spring lasts for about a week, so good luck.
At least I think it was a cozy weekend to read. It was good for that reason, just to stay home, listen to an audiobook or read on my couch. So
And for those of you who are watching, it's a special episode today. And for this special episode, Mary absolutely wants to show you something. So
yes.
please,
Wait. So for this special episode, I'm wearing my Elizabeth Bennet cross. I was crazy enough to buy it like for myself for my 30th birthday in February. I ordered it from the UK and I got it in Canada. So
wow.
this is my Jane Austen / Elizabeth Bennet.
It's from the Jane Austen Center in Bath.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And since we're talking about romance, I was like, okay, I'm going to wear this.
Yeah, because it's my favorite episode of the year. We're swapping controversy last time for chemistry. It's almost summer, so we need something lighter, brighter, swoon wolfy, summer romances. What's best? I consider myself to be quite the expert, and I'm so happy to share my love for summer romances with you.
You are. I think people are gonna be very happy at the end of the episode with all the recommendations and all of the takes you're gonna give.
I hope so. And for those of you who roll your eyes, it isn't just about steamy scene. It's about emotional depth, character growth, what it means to fall in love. Whether you're in a seaside town or stuck in the city, it's your summer.
And the really cool thing about romance is it's a very diverse genre, right? And on top of that, we can see the evolution of romance novels that have been written years back and those that have come in the past years. I know you're going to talk about this more in depth, Barbara, but as a newbie, like I consider myself a newbie in the genres.
Welcome to the fan club.
And I've experienced very different romance novels. I've read some romanticities. So yeah, romance with fantasy. But other than that, yeah, I'm a newbie and in the past weeks, thanks to you actually, and we're going to talk about this afterwards, I discovered a lot of really famous authors and famous books that are really worth it. So yeah.
And you just talk about romantasy, and I'd love to read, if you listener, you have recommendation about a book, a romantasy in summer, because I don't know of any.
That's true.
I'd love to read this.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, diving into the trends, maybe you can give us some highlights on that, maybe?
Sure. I've been reading summer romances for, I will say, 15 years, and I've seen a major shift in the past 3 years. And because my life is quite a mess sometimes, I love reading a book where the characters and the heroine has a messy life too, because I can relate to the main character and imagine myself with a summer romance by the beach. But yeah, maybe a major theme is trauma and healings. And I think about writers like Abby Jimenez and Emily Henry. Emily Henry is my favorite author.
She's really good, Emily Henry. And
I love her.
Thanks to this podcast and to you, I discovered 2 of her books recently, and I can say that she's an amazing author.
Yeah. And she publishes a book every year. So, like every April, I wait for my Emily Henry book, and it's always a nice surprise. And the fact is, she's very good at exploring new arcs, and the relationship is different every time. And the characters all have like past traumas and stories to share. So
Yeah,
that's the prime example of healing and emotional arcs. It's not just a backstory, it's part, there's the romance and there's the healing process when we follow the characters. So that's quite important. And a thing I'm so excited about is the new season. Yeah, we're always talking about movies, series, and books, but I'm obsessed with The Summer I Turned Pretty. And that's so fun because I'm a 30-year-old woman watching teenage drama.
That's okay. I mean, okay, like many things that you're going to mention today, I have not read it or seen it. But can you tell me why it's special? Like, I'm curious because I know it's a very, very popular series, but I haven't watched it. So, like,
It's great. I discovered the series on Prime first, then I read the books, and it's quite different between the books and the series, of course.
okay.
It tends to be. Usually it's always different when you read the book and watch the series. They change like a few plot lines. But I don't know, I feel so like just I love them. And the things I have to say is I love triangles. So
Okay.
yes, when there's a love triangle, I'm just so involved in the resolution. So,
Okay.
and I've been obsessed with love triangles since Twilight when I was 12 years old, of course, Team
Oh my God.
Edward. So with The Summer I Turned Pretty, I'm Team Conrad.
Okay.
You
I
don't know
don't
what I'm talking about for now, but I can't wait for you to read the books, watch the series, and tell me what team you are.
Okay. I can promise that in the next few weeks, I can watch the series for sure.
Thank you.
Maybe not the book because I have a lot of books on my TBR, but I can watch the series, I think.
Watch the series, yeah, before the third season, like late July. And what I really like is you have the summer romance. So she's a teenager and she has a thing with the two brothers, but you follow other characters too. So there's the siblings, the best friend, two moms, and you don't have just one love story. It's not just about the central romance. And in many books now, I think readers want side character with depth and
Yeah.
friendship. It's so important, friendship. And I think it's so cool that now in every book, every movie, you have strong friendships portrayed too, because friendship are so important in our lives. So yeah, another big trend in summer
Yeah.
romances.
And I was going to say that another trend that's interesting that I see from very far away as a newbie is the sex positive. I don't know, could we call it sex positive trend, or the fact that it's not only do we have romance novels with sex scenes and like spicy romance novels,
Yeah.
but also the way it's written is very different with like a very modern lens.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's because more women write books and we have a woman viewpoint and it's so different. And some people say it's the same when you watch a movie directed by a man and the sex scenes are different from the viewpoint. I know it was a
The male
discussion.
gaze. Yeah, the male
Yeah,
gaze.
yeah. I know it was a discussion with Bridgerton season 2. So yeah,
Oh,
interesting.
I have a lot of feelings when it comes to Bridgerton.
Yeah, we'll talk about Bridgerton more. And a question I have for you is, what's your favorite trope?
Oh, okay, I have thought about this long and hard because it's a very hard question, I think, just because I cannot just pick one. But I will say that I do love enemies to lovers. I think that's one that I really like because of the tension. And usually there is this slow burn element that just like keeps you on your toes, like keeps you like tensed for a long period of time. So I think enemies to lovers. And another one that I like is forbidden relationships. I think there is something so dramatic about it, and so I don't know. I like the idea of the characters having to like fight for their, or like not fight, but like.
So you love the fighting element because it's the same with enemies to lovers. They fight a lot.
Okay, maybe not the fight, but it's more like fighting against the elements.
Okay.
You know, when it comes to like, and also why I like the forbidden love trope is it just highlights how strong the feelings have to be for you to make it happen. You know, so I think that's what I like about it. Deep down, it's this thing of it's so intense that even though like whatever like society or an external element is forbidding you to have this love story, you're still fighting for it. So I think that's where it comes from for me.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of examples, but since I'm just like a newbie in terms of romance,
You
I don't
know
have a lot of
more
examples.
when you say.
I don't have a lot of examples, but I will say that I know we're going to talk about Bridgerton afterwards, but since there are 8 books, at least in the main saga, we do have those different tropes appearing, and enemies to lovers is book 2, for example, and I really like that one. Well, I like the Netflix series better, but that's another.
Actually, we researched for the episode and we found 21 official tropes.
Yeah, there are a lot of, and I think it's not even the complete list, right? But anyway, what's your favorite? What do you think is your favorite?
Love triangle. It's not healthy. Maybe it's the reason I'm still single. And that's
It's a good question. Is it your favorite kind of romance? Is it what you would want to experience in life?
no, but it's what I experience all the time. So maybe it's what I attract. And that's funny because I started watching the Buccaneers, the series, and I didn't know about the series. I knew about the book and I just discovered the series. I'm in the middle. I don't know the end.
Okay.
And I know the new season will be released very soon. And I'm obsessed because it's a love triangle. So I've watched 4 episodes in a row. I think I'll finish the season tonight. And that's great.
I did watch it and I was hooked. Yeah.
What team are you?
Okay. It's hard because in some love triangles, you see how difficult the decision is. And I feel like in that particular case, I don't know, like because do you believe in love at first sight? Because that's what she got with, I think, one of them, or
I don't believe in it, but I have a favorite. I knew who I would choose. The castle.
You're like Elizabeth Bennet visiting Darcy's castle and deciding that.
Yeah. Have you seen this castle? Oh my god, it's amazing. And the fun fact, because when I watched the scene on the beach, I thought, but why? I thought I knew the place. And I realized they filmed in Cornwall and in Scotland too, where I was staying.
Swag.
Yeah,
oh my god,
it's so beautiful.
I love those. Like my favorite landscape, I think, is cliffs. It's just my favorite. Like views over the water, and yeah, that's.
And Devon and Cornwall, if you've never been to the UK, and I keep saying till the day I die, being dramatic a bit, don't only visit London. Like the UK is so beautiful and you have this kind of landscapes with cliffs, Devon, Cornwall, Scotland, Wales. Like it's amazing. And they film movies there because it's just so beautiful. So don't go only to London. So we've talked about something else for 15 minutes now. Let's focus again on summer romances.
Wait, do you have another trope that you really like apart from love triangle?
Maybe forced proximity. I have an example in mind. Beth O'Leary book. She's a British author, and she wrote a book. Well, because in London rents are crazy. I don't remember if it's her or him who works at night and the other during the day. So they rent the same place, and just it's a turnover. and it was great. So yeah, that's very niche, force proximity.
Okay, I like this idea. I will check out the book. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think she released a new book like 2 months ago, but I haven't read it, so I don't have an opinion yet.
Fine.
So our favorite tropes now, and of course we have favorite summer romances. So we'll share our picks. I'm sorry, I have so many, but because I'm a fan. But Mary has very good recommendation too, and I agree with her choices because they're such good books. So you already know Emily Henry is one of my favorite authors. So we just talked about it. And she's the queen of emotional banter and summer feelings. I love banter. I love wit. I love humor. Of course, I love everything she writes. My favorite one is Book Lovers, maybe because I deeply relate with the character and I saw myself a bit in the heroine. She loves books. She works in a publishing house in communication. She doesn't want like what is considered as a normal life with children and everything. And I like this too. So yeah, I just related. And in the conclusion is you can like carve your own path and don't try to be someone else. Don't try to be different for other to like you and to find someone. Be yourself and you'll find someone when it's the right time to match you. And it's set in New York. I love New York. I know you love New York too, so
Yeah.
you will love the
I
book.
think I will love it too. And I loved her other book, People We Meet on Vacation, so much that I feel like Book Lovers, and I think it's the first romance she wrote, right? Book Lovers.
Yeah.
I think. You're the expert.
And funny story, happy place, beach read. I loved everything. So you can pick or you can read everything. This summer, another recommendation I have is Abby Jimenez. There's always humor too. And I love Just for the Summer. It's about fake dating. So maybe I like fake dating because it's
I like
also
fake dating too.
yeah. It's sometimes it's forced proximity too because they make a deal as friends for family and friends.
Yeah.
But there's trauma processing too. So just like I said in the beginning, it's important when you have the eating part and you process things as an adult and in a healthy way. So great recommendation. So I have a dilemma. I can't choose my favorite summer romance author between Emily Henry and Carly Fortune. Carly Fortune is Canadian and I visited, so it's a series of books and she wrote standalone too, but the series is set in Barry Bay. It's in Northern Ontario and I visited town because I loved the book so much. So Mary, if you do a road trip in Ontario this summer or next summer, visit Barry Bay.
I'll remember this and read the books too. So
Yeah. So it's you're by the lakeside. It's summer nostalgia. I love it.
what's the kind of romance like? What's the story about?
So she wrote different romances. There's Friends to Lovers. There's the first one set in Barry's Bay. It's a reconnection because they were lovers when they were 18 and they reconnect in their late 20s or early 30s. I don't remember. I'm reading the new one. She's a short one, Godel Summer, and it's reconnection too. So it's mainly that, but it's also forbidden romance. She explores different tropes. That's what I like too about her. It's not always the same thing.
Oof, I like that. I like the forbidden aspect of it. And also the reconnecting after years. I like that.
For those of you who are watching on YouTube, like the sun is shining bright. It was raining like 10 minutes ago, so now I have the sun in my face. Is it just because we're talking about summer? I don't know.
I think so. Actually, same here in Montreal. We were supposed to have rain all weekend, and for some reason this morning it was pretty sunny. So I don't know if That's the energy of summer romance, getting to us. I like that.
Maybe a final recommendation, Elena Armas. And I've just seen on Facebook, like before our call, before the recording, that the Spanish Love Deception will be adapted. So that's great. We're talking about her. She's a Spanish author, but she lives in the US.
Does she write in? Sorry, I was just going to ask if she writes in Spanish or English then.
No, English.
Okay.
But the main character in the Spanish Love Deception is Spanish, and they travel back and forth. And the American Roommate Experiment, I think, yeah, it's her second one. And the main character is the friend of the heroine in the first one. So you know the characters before. So I love when you can just reconnect with them. I love series basically because you see the evolution, and sometimes in the first one, it's the beginning of the love story. Then in the second one, they're not at the center of the story, but you see the wedding. And in the third one, it's the baby or the traveling or buying a house or starting a business. So you see the evolution.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is a lot of romantic stories are written about the beginning of a relationship and then how the relationship exists. And then once the characters get together, it ends. And we don't have the after, after the wedding, after the people have gotten together. Like, that's the hardest part, right? It's like real life after the magical gathering of two people,
Okay, I'm getting super excited. For those of you who are watching, I'm just jumping on my chair because I have a recommendation for you. The 7 Year Sleep by Sophie Cousins. I love her. She's a great author. And the 7 Year Sleep, it's about, I don't remember the name of the main character, but basically the heroine just is sleeping. And when she wakes up, it's 7 years after. And yeah, she doesn't remember. She has like a security shock, and she's married and have 2 children. I think a 6-year-old and a baby. So it's not the start of the relationship, but for her, she falls in love again with her husband, but she realizes the relationship was far from perfect. And I thought about it like for a long time after I finished.
Yeah, it's interesting to have a story, like a love story after the first chapter, or like what I said about stories being written particularly about the beginning and not the after of a love story. Interesting.
Okay, do you have a recommendation for us?
Yes, I have recommendations. And I'm not, as I said before, I'm not an expert, so my recommendations are just very famous books.
I'm sure you are, but you don't want to spill your secrets.
My recommendations are very famous books that probably everyone has heard of, but if people have not read them, it's the right time. So the first one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. No need to explain who she is. She has written very famous, amazing books, 2 of them, so The Song of Achilles and Circe. And why I wanted to talk about The Song of Achilles is, for me, it's the perfect summer read. I know that it's not the typical romance novel that you can find because it would be categorized as a mythology, like a story on mythology. So it would not be in the romance section of a bookstore. But I read it a few years back, and actually it was written in 2012, so a long time ago. And we have 2 characters, Achilles and Patroclus, and we see them grow up together, fall in love, and also having to face the drama of the Trojan War. I think everyone knows that. But what I liked about the book, and what you said, Barbara, about books staying with you after you've read them, I think it happened with The Song of Achilles because it's so strong, so deep, and also just sad. I mean, I think it's okay to have romance novels that are sad and, having to face heartbreak, right?
It's more realistic too.
It's more
like
realistic.
we know it's not all like we're not in Cinderella.
Yeah.
Like life
child.
happens.
That's true. That's a good point. And what I said about the forbidden love, I mean, theirs is not truly forbidden, but it's still like there's this element of forbidden love in that story. And I think that's why also it just touched my, it moved me somehow. And so I think, yeah, it's the perfect read for the summer. It's very emotional and you can feel the sun-soaked Greek soldiers going to war, I think it's just perfect for the summer, even though it's heartbreaking. So that's the first pick that I wanted to mention today. Second one, we already talked about it, but the Bridgerton novels. I think it's important to highlight it just because
Just because it's Bridgerton and we're obsessed.
That's true. But the first thing is, it does happen, well, not just over the summer, but also spring. I think the social season in London starts in April, if I'm correct.
I should know, but I don't know. What am I doing? I should start the season.
But the reason why I wanted to mention it is I loved the books. I have read only the first 7 books and there are 8 of them. So I still have 1 to read, but perfect read for the summer. It's a very easy read. Like for all of the different books that she has written in the saga, it's like maybe 250 pages. Perfect read for the beach or just by the poolside, at a park, wherever, people want to read a book over the summer. And it's very easy to just go through all of them, if that's something that people are into, I guess, just one after the other. And you get such different stories, different tropes, different energies. And it's the perfect summer to read Bridgerton because for people who watch the series, we still have 1 more year to wait for the next season.
Yeah,
so I feel like
if you expect the book to be like the series, it's not, because they changed basically everything.
Yeah, that's a good warning. I almost forgot to talk about this.
Yeah.
And I will say that the series is better than the books. I love the books as,
I agree.
romance novels, but I think the series just lifted, I don't know, it added elements that made it even better. And also it's just visually, of course, it's a very beautiful series. So that's something for it. But also why I prefer the series is in the books, not the only, but one of the drawbacks is we don't have a very good development of the side characters. So so each book is about a Bridgerton kid. So there are 8 brothers and sisters. And in the books, you are really focused on one kid, one character at a time. And sometimes she forgets to talk about the brothers and sisters. Whereas in the series, from the start, we get this family.
Yeah, the family dynamics and everything. Because in the book, we don't have all these side characters. They don't exist.
Yeah. And also, I love Queen Charlotte in the series, and she's not in the books. So just for that reason, I have to prefer the series. It's just a fact.
Last time we talked about the context, and the books, it was like historically accurate. So that's why too you don't have the same characters and
That's true.
all the things we see in the series.
Yeah, that's true. And also just a fun fact for out of nowhere for people, and I don't think I told you. So last year when season 3 was released, had a huge moment with Bridgerton because I not only read the books after season 3, but also with one of my friends, we had a huge crush on Luke Newton, the actor who plays Colin Bridgerton. Anyway, and just a fun fact that I'm going to give is we have the same birthday with Luke Newton. Yeah, but
is it a sign? Are you trying to say it's a sign?
I don't know. He was born in 93 and me in 95, so we have 2 years of difference, but he was born on February the 5th, just like me. Anyway, that was the fun fact for today.
I was a bit obsessed too, but not with him, because I was rooting for the relationship in real life with Nicola Kirkland, because I love her.
She's amazing.
But yeah, it didn't happen. They're both happily with their other half, and I won't say anymore.
Oh my god. But yeah, I loved season 3 and it's actually book 4 for them. So season 3 is book before.
So is your
I think so. And I have other favorites when it comes to Bridgerton, but this one has a special place in my heart just because something happened last year when I watched the series and we connected so much with my friend over this season. We even like watched it together, like the second part of the season. We watched it remotely, like she was at her place, I was at my place, and we kept
that's
texting
so fun.
until like 1 a.m. We texted until 1 a.m. because we just watched 4 episodes on the same night. Can you imagine? Like that's, can you
Yeah,
imagine?
I know. Yeah, I did too.
So
Actually, I should say I took the day off to watch the second part of the series.
I love this so much. I could have done that. I think I couldn't at that time, but I would have. And I should have done that with my friend. Just take a day off together and just watch it.
Okay, next season, especially because I like Benedict is my favorite. We're taking a day off to
Okay.
co-watch the series.
Let's do this. I'm down for this. I don't know if they said like when it's going to be released exactly, but probably spring 2026. So we can add this to our calendars.
I think you have a final recommendation for us, and
I have a final one.
it's another one I'm obsessed with.
Yeah. I couldn't talk about romance without talking about romantasy because as a fantasy lover, I have to talk about fantasy. So romantasy, we already talked about my lack of knowledge when it comes to Akatar. So I'm not gonna, just wanted to mention it again, but it's not Akatar because I haven't read it yet. But I wanted to talk about Fourth Wing. I know it has been a huge phenomenon and I do believe that it's already set to be adapted into series or a movie.
She talked about it yesterday on Instagram. I watched the video.
Okay. And we already have 3 books out and I think it's going to be a 6-book series of books.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm so excited.
So, I think a friend of mine told me. I did not fact check this piece of information, but I think a friend of mine told me because she's the kind of reader who does not start a series until all of the books have been out. So she's like waiting for the books to be
Okay,
out.
I have so many questions for her.
But anyway, Rebecca Yarros wrote Fourth Wing in 2023. And what I like about this book is the enemies to lovers dynamic that we get. And it really doesn't disappoint, I think. The way it's written, and also I have to mention, because I talked about Akatar, same with Fourth Wing, it's a spicy book. Like we have sex scenes. I think they're well written for me. You know, everyone can have their own opinion on that. There are other flaws to the book and to the story, but the love story is not flawed at all. So if people haven't read it, I think it's worth it. Like we have dragons, we have a war happening, and also it's a very modern love story for so many reasons that we don't have to mention. But for example, I don't know, such things can really stay in my mind for some reason. But like at some point, the main character, Violet, she mentions that both her and her love interest take I was going to say a pill, but it's not a pill. Like they think not to have kids. And it's just, it touched my the feminist in me, the fact that both men and women in this story take a sort of pill.
I think if they call it a potion, like,
okay, a potion, maybe that's true. And I was like, oh, okay. That's, it, you know, that probably would not have been written decades ago, you know? And I know it's a detail, but to me, it shows something. And the only thing about Fourth Wing is it's a very chunky book. So I feel like it could be a good book for the summer to have as a over the summer read, you know, either you make it last for several weeks or you're just too obsessed with it and you stay up until...
Yeah, because it's good to make it last if we want to play with words.
But there are 3 books.
But
so
clearly, you're obsessed with it. Once you open the book, you like to read till the end.
Yeah, but also the good thing is there are 3 books. So if people want to spread it out over the summer, I think that's a good thing. Yeah.
I'm starting to be philosophical a bit, but I read an article and I found it super interesting. I read an article in the New York Times, but a few months ago, about romantasy and fantasy, and the fact that when the world is dark, and that's true, like we don't live in very bright environment right now with everything happening, economical, political, wars and everything. We have a big surge in fantasy, romantasy books because we need to just escape for a bit. And I think Fourth Wing is perfect for that because you have 600 pages, you enter into a new world. And it's not without its challenges because there's a war in the book too and bad things happening. But yeah, it just like you dive into it and you just forget about your problems and focus on their problems.
That's very interesting. And I'm not surprised that the New York Times wrote about this.
Yeah, I tried to find the article and link it in the comment because I think it was a long article and very interesting regarding the observation and everything.
Nice. Okay. And continuing on this publishing, I know you have recommendations of new summer picks that are going to be out this year.
Yeah. The thing is always, even if I'm reading something, if there's a new romance, I stop and read the new romance. So my picks for this summer first, and I don't even know what the book will be about. It's the new book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'll buy and read everything she'll put out because I love her. I love her books. So it's called Atmosphere. So first recommendation.
So cool when you have an author that you trust so much that whatever they have written, you will just buy and read.
Actually, the same thing with, okay, for me, it's not a summer romance at all, but Ken Follett, historical fiction. I read like everything he put out. And I remember Pillars of the Earth. It's what started my obsession with historical fiction. And actually, another author I trust implicitly, Carly Fortune. We talk about her, One Golden Summer. It's set in Barry's Bay. Once again, I loved it. I read it in one sitting, 4 hours. It was done perfect. And the final one I'm reading right now is Story of My Life by Lucy Score. I love Lucy Score too. I highly recommend the Knockmart series. So you follow the characters. It's 3 books and you follow a friends group. So Story of My Life, it's a little bit different. So my final recommendation for you. And because summer is about to begin, we want to hear what is in your bag for this summer, your current reads, and we're always ready to add more to the pile. So we'll be excited to dive into it.
Yes, and I'm excited to get into your picks for the summer because
there's so many picks. I think you'll need like 3 other summers.
No, but even the 3 new ones that you mentioned, I'm excited for those 3. And well, I think that's a wrap for our summer romance episode. As Barbara said, don't hesitate to send us your recommendations. Our doors are open. Our TBRs are open.
And if you like this episode, rate us, review us, send us flowers. We talk about romance, preferably book shape. And next time we're jumping into one of the books we talked about today. So read along with your thoughts. And until then, stay romantic.
Bye.
That's it for this chapter of Book Nook. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Book Nook the podcast for more bookish fun. And we'll see you next time. Until then, happy reading!